Now the same could be true whether it is plastic surgery or medical oncology or whatnot. Okay, I'm just going to give you 4 examples. Now example number 1. This was how Lahul and Spiti, Himachal Pradesh was just 4 years ago before we went in. Now this is what you can see on the top right hand side. A burns patient being dragged for 36 hours. India is a paradox. On the one hand, we are talking from this city. We are talking of sending 3 people in low Earth orbit just 35 months from now. Totally indigenous. But at the same time, this is the true India. I have been here twice and you can see this is how our vehicle goes. Now what did we do? We decided that we will provide remote healthcare using technology. Just a few clinical examples. The slide is self-explanatory. We have 7 patients with myocardial infarction, which we diagnosed from Chennai, Madras, 3,000 kilometers away. And 4 of these people, we diagnosed MI as they were evolving. The first ECG was normal, but my doctors are very good. They said, look, I don't like the look in that guy's face. He's not doing well. Maybe just keep him there. Don't send him back. Repeat the ECG. The second ECG done 45 minutes later showed an ST segment elevation. We picked up a myocardial infarction as it was evolving, thrombolized him. All these have been published in scientific journals. Supraventricular tachycardia. The only difference is my specialists are in Chennai and the patient is at a height of 14,500 feet. I very strongly believe that in the future, starting from right now, as the previous speaker also mentioned, medicine, ladies and gentlemen, is no longer going to be diagnosis and treatment. Even from an ROI point of view, return on investment, at the end of the day, everything revolves around vitamin M. No organization is successful unless it declares dividends for shareholders. The shareholder could be a wife alone or it could be a mega company, whatever it is. So at the end of the day, keeping people healthy, promoting wellness. I may not be alive, but 20 years from now, the hospitals which are going to make a lot of money are those hospitals which will prevent, avoid, and not do open heart surgeries and stenting and kidney transplant, etc., etc., etc. 95% of cardiac surgeries could be totally avoided if only we had picked up the coronary artery stenosis well before it started. We strongly believe in it, and it's a very small way. My staff, I have a wonderful team. We did a house-to-house visit in Lahul and Spiti, 34,000 people in the Himalayas. Temperature minus 25 degrees centigrade for 5 months a year. Landslides, totally isolated. But we went house to house and using technology, point of care diagnostics, with a drop of blood. It doesn't require a BSc nursing. It doesn't even require an ASHA. Most of my staff are school dropouts, 8th grade, 7th grade. With a drop of blood, I can do liver function tests, renal function tests, cardiac enzymes, 27 tests, hemoglobin. We found that 58% of women whom we had analyzed in this district were anemic. How simple, a drop of blood, that is all required. So preventing illness, keeping people healthy, this is much more important. Before we went, the government of Himachal Pradesh used to do at least 25 to 30 helicopter evacuations. Do you know how difficult it is for regulations to get permission to get a helicopter land? It's almost impossible. After we went, we have reduced it from 30 to less than 9 to 10 per year, and my staff ensure that the tertiary care is provided. We do a tele-triage. We are not saying that we can treat everything remotely, but we can diagnose most things remotely. The numbers speak for itself. Just look at this. And this slide, 19th April. As I'm becoming older, I'm becoming lazier. Otherwise, I would have updated the statistic till 10 o'clock this morning. I have the technology to do it. It's on a dashboard real time. I have a URL. I've been given only 200 seconds. So I can't take you online and show you what is happening right now as I'm talking. When a patient is entering this, the computer updates it in real time. The numbers speak for themselves. Again, I'm a proud Indian. I'm proud to be in India. This is the world's first tele-emergency services clinic, which has been published in leading journals, etc. I'm going to quickly run through several examples. This is National Thermal Power Corporation. in Assam, 20 miles from China. It is a terrorist area, a disturbed area. People don't want to go there. 5% of India's power is generated from this single factory. It's so ultra-modern that it has only 2,500 employees. But because it is so isolated, it was considered a punishment posting. Engineers did not want to go there. Somebody falls sick, what do? They were unable to get medical doctors to be. The hospital which was spent at crores of rupees were constructed, was locked, and totally nobody was there. Again, we went over, we took over some rooms. I have a skeleton staff, but within 25 minutes of a person entering there, I guarantee that a specialist was able to come. Teleradiology, we are going to have expert talks by teleradiologists. Interestingly, most of our clients are the government. Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute in Delhi. We are able to give an imaging in less than 45 minutes if it is an emergency. Even for a routine, about 4 hours is all that we take. We have radiologists who are subspecialized in various organizations. If you think that remote healthcare is only villages, I want you to change your mind. Apollo Hospitals Hyderabad has the doctor called Harinath, Dr. Sai Harinath. His ICU is connected to 48 ICUs in 11 different states. And MD anesthetists or MD general medicine, they are not board certified intensivists. They don't have a formal training in ICU or critical care. They still require hand holding, they still require help. And from Apollo ICU Hyderabad, we are connected to 38 centers. You can see various conditions where advice has been given, and absolutely we have data. Again, these papers have been published to show that the simple process of teleconsultation has made a difference in the way the patient is managed. Example number 3, corporate social responsibility. A multinational company has funded us with, it's a mega project, almost 5 crores per year is what they give us. And again, using technology, we have screened, as of a month ago, almost 900,000 patients. Yes, governments do it, many NGOs do it. But the difference here, ladies and gentlemen, is this is not just identifying that somebody is anemic or somebody's sugar is raised. I believe that camps are of no use unless you follow it up. And what we have done is, for the first time, we have provided on-site in a camp mode, instantaneous, within 1.5 hours, the person comes to a camp, I do an HbA1c, not just a random blood sugar. I mean, we have protocols. If the random blood sugar is more than 140, then I do an HbA1c, and based on the Indian diabetic score, etc., I tell the person, look, I'll get you a doctor, I'll get you a nutrition specialist, a counselor, and so on and so forth. More than 16,000 people have benefited with an instantaneous consultation in a camp mode. This also has been analyzed in great detail, and it was published. It came in the PubMed just about 4 weeks ago. Project number 5, Andhra Pradesh Tele-Ophthalmology Project. A previous speaker mentioned about AI and diagnosing diabetic retinopathy. Here are the numbers. Unfortunately, when I sent this paper to a leading US journal, they refused, they did not accept it, simply because they believe that these numbers are not true. It is very sad. This is the state it is. We have 115 centers, all located in villages. On an average, we have 20 to 25 people coming per day per center, so about 2,000 per day. And the last 15 months, this is what we have done. Any of you are welcome to go to this URL online, and you can see a minute-to-minute updation of everything. As of, I don't remember the date, okay, 25th April. As of 25th April, we had done 9,34,000 patients. And out of this, 2,22,000 fundus images have been visualized, screened, reported by 30 ophthalmologists in Chennai. The fact that these people are in a village in Andhra Pradesh doesn't matter at all. We are absolutely delighted that state governments today have realized that technology and technology alone can provide healthcare in rural India. And this you can see here. And believe me, within 10 minutes, I have details. Anybody interested, I'll be happy to share it with them. The average mean time is 10 minutes. they get a color printout, computer generated, signed by an ophthalmologist, giving a photograph for the fundus and saying A, it's normal, or B, this is the hypertensive retinopathy, diabetic retinopathy, hemorrhages, plaques, etc., 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 and telling them what is to be done. Free of cost, so far as the patient is concerned. The government, of course, reimburses all the expenses which have incurred in. Who says India is a third world country? Who says we are a backward country? I've done an extensive literature search and I've not been able to find a single publication of this intensive qualitative and quantitative work anywhere. Fundus image transmission from the existing community health center. And again, these 115 centers were already in existence. They have come under the Department of Health and Family Planning, Government of Andhra Pradesh. But we took over them, refurbished them, supplied them with additional equipment. We trained everybody. We have intensive audit, quality control, etc. Example number 5. Again, Government of Andhra Pradesh. We started this about 2 years ago. 164 EUPHC, Urban Primary Health Center. The medical doctors in this audience know that unfortunately, out of the 642 districts, I'm sure Rajendra Gupta will correct me with the latest details, but I think it's roughly 642 districts, maybe about 38,000 primary health centers. It's a fact that at least 30 to 40% of PHCs, even though posts have been sanctioned, doctors have been posted, just don't turn up there. So the most difficult, we specialize. I love to do things which are most difficult, which nobody else has done. That is what we love to do. So 164 primary health centers where there were no footfalls, nobody was there. The government gave it to us, we took over. I have 6 employees in each PHC. These are my employees. I pay them a salary. I can hire them, fire them, give them double promotion, whatever it is, etc. I have a doctor, I have a nurse, a computer assistant, a ward boy, etc., etc. And you can see everything is online. This is a dashboard, real time. The whole thing is totally transparent. The CM's office, in fact, the CM himself, on 3 occasions, Chandrababu Naidu personally to the mobile phone spoke to some of the beneficiaries and asked them what is happening, etc. Look at the laboratory. We are obsessed with quality control. There is no point in my doing a blood sugar and a serum bilirubin and a cardiac enzyme unless I am 200% sure that the value is absolutely correct. Believe me, maintaining quality in a primary health center is no joke. Again, I have a lovely team in Hyderabad and they ensure through various methods quality control. So this is what we have done. More than 550,000 people have utilized the laboratory services. Total consultations as on 31st March, a staggering 6.4 million people, more than the population of Singapore. The number of teleconsultations we have given here is 5.8. 9% of the total teleconsultations. Within 4 hours, this is a contract we have signed with the government, and the government punishes us if I do not the deliverables, roles and responsibilities, if I do not adhere, compliance and adherence, we are penalized. Stringent conditions have been given to us, but we are delighted that we have been able to fulfill most of them. 5.8 lakh people within 4 hours, a cardiologist, a neurologist, a respiratory physician, a diabetologist, obstetrician, blah, 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 see them on a big screen inside the PHC. They don't have to travel even 25 or 30 kilometers to a district hospital. And this started in Himachal Pradesh, then next we went to Andhra Pradesh. Very recently we have started in Uttar Pradesh, where it's a teleradiology service, in Jharkhand. Now all these are difficult places. These are places in the deepest part of these countries where even power is a major problem. Bhopal Smart City, we are again delighted that the government is not talking theory, we are doing this. We have a container. All this is innovation. We had nobody to copy with. We have a container. Container is on wheels. On Monday from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. it's in Road A, Tuesday Road B, Road C, so on and so forth. We have a VSAT on top. And my specialist, we deliberately run this after 5 p.m. to make it convenient for office goers, etc. So people come out of the office, just go to the road, get into this. And this is what we have started about 5 months ago. So these are the practical things which we do. The last example, I think, We take over centers when there is nothing. This is our first major project with the US University, University of Pittsburgh, and the business of humanity as they call it. So again, we took over a tribal area in a very desolate place. We do completely, we look after everything, we design everything, etc., etc. And this was formally inaugurated just 3 months ago, and the citizens of more than 10 neighboring villages. We are like an oasis in a desert, literally. So from surrounding 10 villages, we get people, and already we get about 20 to 30 people every day. We also put a common service center. I'm sure many of you know what a CSC is. So we provide B2B and various other services. Xeroxing, getting a ration card, buying a ticket, buying a bus ticket, buying a train ticket, finding out whether the boy has passed 10th standard, 12th standard, advising them what is to be done, etc. Social health education. I strongly believe, I think Gupta would also have met him, ever since I met Sir Muir Gray and Lord Nigel Crisp a couple of years ago. Sir Muir Gray was the Chief Knowledge Officer of NHS. I was interacting with him, and he convinced me that promoting health literacy, patient empowerment, knowledge empowerment is much more important than MRIs and open heart surgeries, etc. So we have a very strong method of promoting health education. Thanks to Professor M.S. Swaminathan, I'm sure all of you have heard of him. I met him a couple of years ago, and now we have just completed about 4.5 years. Of course, it's very difficult to sustain this because we don't have funds, and unfortunately, philanthropy alone cannot maintain something unless there is some sort of revenue generation. This is done purely in a state of volunteerism. Every 2 weeks, I have a consultant. I have personally given about 8 or 9 talks. More than 120 talks have been given so far in Tamil with perfect, state-of-the-art PowerPoint presentations, animations, videos, etc. And what keeps us going is the fantastic response we get from the villages. I have at least 10 to 15 people in each village with multi-point video conferencing. I talk to at least 15 to 18 villages at any given time, 250 to 300 on every alternate Wednesday. Of course, this has got its own, my background is one of academic teaching and research. I'm not a P&L guy, I'm not an MBA, I'm not in this to generate funds. In fact, I was the only loss-making department for the entire Apollo group for the first 15 years. It's only in the last few years from total subsidy, we are almost striking even now. And I believe that in my lifetime, telehealth will be self-sustaining without subsidies. So these speak for ourselves. Columbia University, one of the leading universities in the world. We are delighted that we are being used as a case study for their master's program, the same program which Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama attended, Masters in Public Relations. They sent a team of 5 people who spent a week with us, and they took a video, and this also come out as a chapter in a book, etc. So I am a stickler to time. I hope I'm adhered to the time. In spite of all this, this looks fantastic. But then, ladies and gentlemen, this is the truth. India still ranks 120th among the world's healthiest countries. As I said, India is a paradox. We are better than the best. There is not a single medical procedure today where somebody needs to go outside India. People from all over the world come to India. What? Not for an ordinary surgery. They come for failed hip, failed knee, for a second cardiac transplant, and things like for a combined heart and liver transplant in a 6-month-old baby. That is the sort of procedures we do. And we do this for 30 to 40% of the international cost. We are better than the best. There is no question about it. But the fact remains, for 1,300 million people, it's only a small percentage who are able to have access to this. But from a period of pessimism when I started all this in 1998, from a period of realism, now seeing what has happened in the last 2 years, I'm absolutely optimistic that in my lifetime, from the 3-digit number, we will definitely become a double-digit number, provided we embrace technology and ensure that technology. See, we started the Telemedicine Society of India about 18 years ago. I would be the happiest person if there is no Telemedicine Society of India. There is no Stethoscope Society of India. Telemedicine is a means to achieve an end. It should be part of the doctor's armamentarium, whether he's a cardiologist or a gynecologist or a public health specialist, whatever it is. Why should we consider telemedicine as a subspecialty which a few mad people like us have to sell it? So I'm hoping that the day is not far off when we will actually do it. Again, it was Charles Darwin who said, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the one that is most responsive to change. The future, ladies and gentlemen, is not tomorrow. The future is yesterday. As Mark Twain said, the future is always ahead, is always ahead of schedule. So that I'm also getting early Alzheimer's. Is there an audio? I forgot. Can you put an audio into this? Oh, I'm so sorry. The audio is what made it. I forgot. Just watch for a minute. But there's a message. I'm not being flippant. I'm not trying to elicit a laughter. But there's a message behind this. I'm very sorry. I just forgot about the audio. Okay. The baby is crying and stopped. Totally stopped. When I was a medical student, when I was a doctor, when I was a postgraduate, a teacher, a father, a grandfather, etc., just look at that. Intuitively, the baby knows how to use a smartphone, a touch screen. I am struggling now on what to press, what to do. I ask my grandchildren, can you please help me with that? Look at the look on the child's face. Ultimate happiness. Again, the child has started crying. So this is a double-blind random control, intuitively knows how to use a smartphone, is happy when the baby has got a smartphone, is crying when the smartphone is removed, and once again starts smiling. When I was, as I told you, father, grandfather, etc., we were all taught that a a few month old baby cries, it's because, commonest cause, the baby is hungry, ask the mother to feed the baby, or the mosquitoes are biting, or those days there were no diapers, so maybe the child has passed urine and is lying in urine, and etc., etc. Today, in the differential diagnosis of a newborn baby crying, it is removal of a smartphone. So this is technology. So we are a peculiar country. We use technology to download movies, there are so many statistics. The first speaker actually showed this. We book tickets, we book bus tickets, we do movies, pizza. I mean, there's nothing which we can't do without a mobile phone. Why then is there still a reluctance? Reluctance among the end user, the patient, reluctance among the doctors, reluctance among the administrators, reluctance among the politicians. Again, telemedicine will never, ever really grow like this unless there is political will. Every MP who was contesting for the election said, if I am elected, I will do that, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. I am not aware of a single contestant, 540 seats multiplied by 20, whatever it is, I am not aware of a single contestant who said, if I am elected in my constituency, I will ensure there is telemedicine facilities are provided. Till we reach that day, I will continue to do evangelize as I've been doing for the last 20 years. I mean, it's great fun showing here, everybody clap hands, you go on my way, I go on my way. I mean, we are hypocrites. We are the world's biggest hypocrites. So unless there is political will, unless you persuade your MLA and your MP to fight for this cause, this will continue to be, it's great to publish papers and present papers, but if 20 years from now, you don't want this to be presented as a paper because it's so routine. Now everybody is clapping hands because it's not routine. But I want this to be routine. Every hospital should have this facility. That can take place only with political will. Thank you once again for inviting me. Action replay.